Hello everyone, welcome back. We are on the 10th episode of our series, Parenting One Step at a Time. I hope you are enjoying your weekend and, along with that, last few weeks of summer vacations as well. In the previous episode, we talked about how to keep your toddler busy. Your toddler is a preschooler now. A child of 3 or 4 years is considered a preschooler. So, whether or not your child is attending a formal preschool program, he is no longer a toddler. Preschoolers are different from toddlers in a way that they are developing the basic life skills, independence, and knowledge that they will need as they enter their school years. Preschool, their first experience of a formal school. A new and exciting chapter in their lives. But is it exciting for them? We will find that out in today's episode. Before we start, let me introduce myself for all the first-time listeners. I'm Alpana Dev, I'm your host. I'm a freelance content creator, a blogger at mothersgurukul.com, a podcaster, and a mother of 2 lovely kids who are my greatest source of inspiration for all my parenting posts, articles, and now podcast. Welcome to Mother's Gurukul podcast. Painting, circle time, outside recess, art and craft, dance party, field days, pizza party, and what not. What's not to love about preschool? We imagine it'll be an adventure for our kids. They will have so much to do, having a variety of activities. But for them, it is not a pleasant feeling to be away from you. When I started this series, I didn't realize that I will be recording this particular episode around the same time when we all will be waiting for the school to start. Many of you must be the parents of preschoolers who are preparing your little ones for their first day of school, which is the new phase in their life. This episode will throw some light on how you can ease the preschool transition for your kiddo, presenting you 9 ways to ease the preschool transition for your kid. When my son had started preschool, unlike all the other kids, he also took his own time in adjusting. Initial weeks were slightly tough. He wasn't crying, but he wasn't very happy being there. His teacher suggested me to talk to him about school and his routine. I gave it a try. I talked to him how the teacher said, but then I realized that it's not working. He was thinking about school and teacher all the time. He wasn't relaxed. I didn't want him to get tensed whenever we would ask him about the school. After this experience, I felt prep talks doesn't work for all the kids. Every kid's personality is different. So is their handling style and their ability to cope up with different situations. For example, with my daughter, a brief talk always worked and it still works. But with my son, no. Once he figured out his own way, he was more interactive and involved. More than this, he was happy being at school. Now he used to look forward to his school days. His daily school report changed from happy sad to happy talkative. So, how was my parenting journey as far as his adjustment is concerned? First thing first, don't rush them. Yes, give them time to adjust. It's a very big change for them. You know school is a safe and happy place, but for them, it's a place where mommy leaves them. Obviously, that is not a very pleasant feeling. Don't ask them too many questions. During their adjustment phase, hold on to your excitement. They are still way too young to express their feelings. if you see them doing some actions or saying some new words, then most likely they have learned them at school. So don't be surprised. If you keep on asking them questions like, what did you do today? What did your teacher say? Who are your friends? Then they are not going to answer that. And yes, if you see that your child is not able to adjust at the school, don't even think of skipping the school. It's not going to help you or your child in any way in the adjustment process. Even though they don't understand the importance of regularity, but to put them into the practice of going to school happily, parents need to be regular. Repetition helps them in adjusting to the situations more quickly. Be an early bird. Now just imagine. You enter into a party hall full of guests and you don't know anyone except the host. How would you feel? Now your kiddo goes through the same state of mind. So until your child feels comfortable at the preschool, get there a few minutes early if you can. This gives the child time to settle into an activity before the rest of the crowd arrives. Get to know the teacher. Please understand, their definition of comfort is different. If they see that mommy or daddy are talking to a person, then that gives them a feeling that this particular person is my friend too. In the beginning, it is hard to find a time to talk to the teacher as you want to quickly say bye and leave. But keep in touch with the teacher through emails or messages. This will help you in knowing about your kid's progress. Tell stories that reflects the fun at school. You can build an imaginary character. It could be your child's favorite character. I remember our character used to be Pony Horse. Yes, I built my story around Pony Horse and narrated to him in different chapters. And I used to keep a few things that are similar to his school routine and add a few randomly. But be little over smart, because kids are way smarter than what we think. They can easily guess that mommy is telling me my own story just with the change in the names. So don't keep too many similarities between your story and your child's school routine. Never make false promises. If you are going to pick up your child around the time they eat their lunch, then tell them that you will see mommy after you finish your lunch. Little kids don't know the clock. They go by your words. Don't bribe them with chocolates. I know this is the first obvious way parents think can make the child happy. But don't you think you are putting them in a habit of expecting a chocolate in exchange for going to school happily? Instead, you can use a sticker. How about that? You can get their favorite character sticker book and give them a sticker if they spend a good time at school. You can also give them a sticker before leaving to school. Understand it's a process and they will get it. We as parents are more overwhelmed when our child starts school. It is very, very natural. It is not at all wrong. And why wouldn't we? But it's a process and every child has to go through this phase. Eventually they get it. When we talk about these ways of making the transition easy, there is one very important point that we all have to keep in mind, and those are notice the non-verbal messages. Usually 3-year-old may talk. Most are not yet able to fully explain how they are feeling or what they are worried about. You might find your child acting out his worry by clinging or becoming withdrawn, or maybe by becoming more aggressive. There could be some other form that you will notice. For example, say if your child is fully potty trained. Now he may start have toileting accidents. He may ask that you feed or dress him, even though he can do these things by himself. And it is very natural to be frustrated by this regress behavior. And you may be concerned that if you do these things for him, then he won't go back to doing them himself. But remember one thing, that your child is facing and managing a big change in his life. He may need more support, nurturing, and patience from you while he makes this transition. So, help him out in this transition, and you will see it's not going to be tough phase for him and you as well. Starting a preschool for your little one is a huge adjustment, both for the parent and for the child. No matter what you do, it will likely be a bumpy road for a little while. Having patience, not pushing your child, and giving them enough time to adjust always helps. If your little one is in the habit of taking 2 naps, then that is something you need to work on, because once they start school, they will be getting only 1 nap, which will be after coming back from school. I know there are a few schools where kids take 1 nap and then come home. But if your child's school doesn't have a nap time routine, then you will have to make some adjustments, some changes in your kid's routine. Now, this is not very easy to do. So let's talk about little bit about how you can postpone your toddler's nap time, how to adjust their routine. As a parent, we all know that even a slight change in their routine is a big deal for them. Then postponing their entire nap time is not very easy, and a great feeling for them and for you as well. When my daughter started preschool, she used to take only 1 nap, so it wasn't a big problem. But when my son started his preschool, it was a different story. He has been an early riser since very beginning. So he used to be ready for his first nap after taking shower. Sometimes he would skip the afternoon nap, but the morning one was kind of fixed, which means I had to cut down his first nap when I decided to put him into preschool. It is hard for them to let go their sleep and engage in some activity when their body is accustomed to one particular routine. So I wanted to put my son into the practice of his new nap time. So, how did I postpone my little one's nap time? Things that have helped me, let me talk about them. Make changes gradually. Yes, this is the first step. Do not introduce everything all of a sudden. Kids learn from repetition. When you do a same set of things every day in a certain manner, that becomes their routine. So don't change everything all of a sudden. Begin by pushing the morning nap later by 15 minutes every day or 2. Your ultimate goal is to start it shortly after lunch. By the time your exhausted toddler should sag out for 2 to 2.5 hours. If your child is used to waking up after an hour, see if you can soothe him back to sleep. You can also use a white noise machine, which may help him sleep longer. Start early. Shifting to a new routine a week or 2 in advance is a good time. Kids need time to adjust. You will be relaxed and can take 1 step at a time. Slowly increase the stretch. But don't expect a lot on the first day. Keep in mind, you are trying to bring some changes in your toddler's routine here. They may not accept it in one go. They may be fussy, cranky, or not so very happy child. So, what can you do to let your child not cry and let your child get adjusted to this quickly without thinking more about it? Plan some fun activities. Depending on your child's interest, plan out some activities, but be prepared to listen to a no. There were a few days when my kiddo would say no for his favorite activity. and I could see that he was ready for his first nap, but then I would ask him if he wants to play ball. Sometimes change of an activity can help them to forget about their nap time. Well, now when they are tired, but you are trying to postpone their nap time, there could be some days when, just because there has been some delay from your side in preparing your lunch, they will not eat. So keep the lunch ready. Because when you are not letting them sleep, and then if they have to wait for their lunch, then you know the result. See the clues, and if you feel that now they cannot stretch it more, feed them their lunch when they are in a better mood. Take them out to play. I will avoid car rides as that makes the kids sleepy for sure. But if the weather permits, take them out to the park. Physical activity is a very good distraction for them. While doing all this, don't forget that smooth the rough patches. During this transitional time, your child may be a bit sleep deprived. So, as you switch to one nap, try to ease their morning crankiness. You should also be open to an occasional 2 nap days when your child seems to need it. These were my ideas that have worked for me in postponing my toddler's nap time, and it has helped him when he started his preschool. So what are your tips and tricks? Do you have anything to add to this list? In the next episode, we will discuss timeouts. So stay tuned and don't forget to check out the previous episode if you have recently joined Mother's Gurukul podcast. Till then, stay blessed, stay happy. Happy parenting. Bye-bye. Hello everyone, welcome back. How are you all doing? In the last episode, we talked about how you can ease the transition of your preschooler, and one of the biggest factor which comes into picture whenever your child is going to start a preschool is adjusting his nap time. And we talked about how you can make those changes gradually in the nap time. This is the 11th episode of our series, Parenting One Step at a Time. Today, we are going to talk about something which no kid would like to experience. Kids test our patience. They push our buttons and we get angry, frustrated and irritated. Sometimes we yell, and sometimes it goes even beyond that as well. We are human beings after all. We have our own patience level. If our child repeatedly misbehaves or go against our expectations, it puts us in a stressful state. We give them ultimatums, warnings, and when nothing works, we practice timeouts. We give them a lot of time to adjust, but nothing works. When we practice timeouts more frequently, very soon even timeouts start losing its importance because it is done on regular basis. Why? Is it because kids are smart than we think they are? Or is it because our way of disciplining them is wrong or outdated? Or is it because timeouts is not a solution for long run? Well, my answer will be the last reason. Timeouts are not the solution for long run. We will peek into the reasons that why it doesn't work all the time for all the children, and also ways to let your child listen to you and willingly listen to you. But before that, let me introduce myself to all the first time listeners. I'm Alpana Dev, I'm a published author of A Girl in the New Town, a blogger at mothersgurukul.com, a freelance content creator, and a mother of two lovely kids who are my greatest source of inspiration for all my parenting posts, articles, and now podcasts. Welcome to Mother's Gurukul podcast. Last week, I was listening to a podcast on myths about parenting. And that's when this idea struck to me that I should write an article on timeouts and I should actually record it and share it with all of you. One of the myths we all live with is if we are not able to discipline our kids, then we think of ourselves as a weak parent. I felt that's true to some extent. When we see a child behaving so well at a party, we start judging our parenting style. We start to evaluate what we do towards parenting our kids. One of the favorite disciplinary methods of parents is timeouts. But I feel timeouts do not work in every situation. The reason I feel this way is because of many factors. Does the timeout is related to a specific behavior? Children see everything as white and black. There is nothing gray for them. They don't understand any complicated calculations. When disciplining the child, if the consequences are related to the specific act, then they get it. Putting it in simple words, then think for a child how is sitting on a specific spot for 2 minutes now is related to throwing a ball or a block at his or her sibling. There is actually no relation between the two situations. We should also see that how is the child taking it emotionally. Making a 2.5-year-old sit on a chair for 5 minutes because he or she wasn't listening to you is not going to help them in understanding the reason, but it will make them feel bad, sad, and stressed out. If your child keep crying for entire 5 minutes, what is the point of it? So, have you solved the purpose of giving your child timeout? No, you haven't. In fact, the child is even more stressed out and maybe scared. So basically, what exactly is your child learning during a timeout in terms of correct behavior? To be honest, nothing. By giving our children timeouts, we are letting go of the opportunity of telling them what went wrong. Well, I'm not saying that I have never given timeouts to my kids. I did. But I never went over. I used them only when needed, and that also very rarely. I believe in explaining to them why they are not supposed to do it. And instead of calling it a timeout for them, I would rather call it a mommy timeout. So, when it is not a solution, then there have to be some alternatives to it. Let's see. For young kids, say under 3, distraction works great. I have a toddler who is turned 3. You may think of removing the object that is the cause of the behavior or just take the child away from that particular spot. Get engaged in some interesting activity. It can be as simple as counting birds sitting on the wire or how many spoons are there in the holder. For some little older kids, they usually take pride in doing things on their own, like big kids. They demand undivided attention. So, if you think your phone or your laptop is a reason for their bad behavior, then think of going a few hours or minutes of technology detox. Believe me, it is good for both of you. To a kid, even negative attention is better than no attention. So, give those distraction-free minutes to your child. Teach them what you expect from them. Yes, I said to teach them, not to tell them. For example, instead of saying, I need a snack. Teach your child to practice saying, "Can I have a snack, please?" Reframing your sentences goes a long way. But don't forget to practice this yourself. I used to play a thing game with my daughter, and now I do that with my son. We switch roles and then hold a conversation. Be clear about the ground rules. This takes us back to the point where we have started. Consequences should always be related to the behavior. Kids need attention. They need love, a listening ear, and empathy. No matter if they are young or old, they all deserve this. So, stay calm. Be firm. Give them the attention they need. Set clear ground rules and enjoy parenting. According to ahaparenting.com, if you are using timeouts to deal with your child's meltdowns, that is actually destructive because you are triggering your child's abandonment panic. So try emotion coaching and time ins. If you want to teach your child emotional self-management, that is only effective before a meltdown starts and the child can still access the reasoning capacity of the prefrontal cortex. When you see the warning signs, take your child to a time in to help her calm down. This signals to your child that you understand that he or she has got some big emotions going on and you're right there with them. If they just a bit wound up and wants to snuggle or even read a book, fine. If they are ready for a meltdown, you are there to help. Just let them know you are there and they are safe. Once the meltdown starts and your child is swept with emotions, it is too late for teaching. So don't try to talk or negotiate or even convince them of anything. Just stay nearby. So you don't trigger their abandonment panic and stay calm. Don't give in to whatever caused the meltdowns. In other words, don't give them a cookie you said no to, but offer your total loving attention. Tell them that they are safe. Be ready to reassure them of your love once they calm down. When you are losing it, what I said earlier that sometimes we need that mommy timeout. So timeouts are a terrific management techniques for keeping your own emotions regulated, but use them on yourself, not your child. When you find yourself losing it, take 5. This keeps you from doing anything you will be sorry about later. It models wonderful self-management for your kids, and it ultimately makes your discipline more effective because you aren't making threats that you won't carry out. Parents who use timeouts are often shocked to learn that there are families who never hit, never use timeouts, and rarely raise their voices to their children. But you shouldn't need to use these methods of discipline, and if you are using them now, you will probably be quite relieved to hear that you can wean yourself away from them. When we are talking about timeout, so there are some ways in which you can get your child to listen to you better. So there are times when we all lose our patience and temper and unwillingly shout or yell on our kids. Even though every time we yell, we decide that next time I'm going to stay cool or I will just relax and deal with the situation with a cooler mindset. But when kids test our patience, we forget all those promises and we have made to ourselves. The vicious circle of asking, repeating, reminding goes on. On the other end, there are the kids, full of new ideas, tremendous energy, and full potential to test us. Kids continue the behavior that works for them, whether it is positive or negative. That is why they are kids and we are parents. So I'm going to share 8 ways to get your child to listen to you better. First one is sufficient dose of attention and power. They need attention from their elders and at the same time the power to take decisions. When they don't get the opportunity, they get upset. Give them the transition time. Connect before you start speaking. We all need the transition time to shift from one mind state from other. If we do not give them that time, then they are not going to listen to our talks and it seems more like a yelling and no following scene. Consequences and misbehavior or cause should be related. Now this is very important. For example, consequences for watching excess TV and not finishing up the homework should not be related to restricting them from the play area time. TV, not finishing homework and not going to the play area are nowhere related to each other. Instead, restrictions should be on watching their favorite cartoons or TV show. Make sure that they are clear with the consequences. Consequences should be revealed in advance. Clearer the consequences, better it is. Again, if they don't know the consequence for their wrong choice or bad behavior, then it'll be easy for them to accept. Ask them to repeat the whole new rule and the consequences. But at the same time, we have to control ourselves. Stop repeating and reminding them all the time. Let them be responsible for their own actions. In short, a child who forgets has a parent who always remembers. Sounds funny, right? Parents need some me time too. Sometimes ignore it. Be unimpressed. Just sit back and relax. What happens when our child does not follow our directions? We raise our voice in order to make them understand. But this is the time when we have to relax and take a deep breath. It is better not to explain or try to convince your child when we are not ready. Wait. Neither they nor we are in the perfect compatible state. But do not allow the matter to get delayed. Solve it before going to bed. Always remember that kids live in the present moment. If you expect that your child will remember what he or she has done 2 days ago and you are trying to explain their actions today, it is not going to work. Solve the matter that day itself. Create positivity. If timeouts, consequences are for wrong behavior, then rewards, praises is for positive behavior. Reward, affection and attention that their good behavior has been recognized is equally important. Kids have a special wired mechanism which tells them how to behave. In the most of the cases, the mechanism directs them to follow a certain behavioral pattern. Sometimes it's their age or their surroundings that are driving their behavior. And most of the time they are listening but not doing what you ask them to do. You can regain your child's ear without losing your voice or your cool. So, how do you get your child listen to you better? And do you practice timeouts more frequently, or if not, what are your tricks? I know for every mother these tips always comes handy, so please share it with the other fellow listeners. In the next episode, we will talk about bedtime ritual and how you can change bedtime battle to bedtime bliss. Till then, happy parenting. Stay blessed. Stay happy. Bye-bye. Hello everyone. Welcome back. In the previous episode, we talked about timeouts and how you can make your child listen to you. This is the 12th episode of our series, Parenting One Step at a Time. If you're a parent, you know the nightly challenge to get your kids go to bed and stay there. It's not easy, but it's one of the most important things you can do for them. Whether you have an infant, toddler, kindergartner, or preteen, a good bedtime routine can be the difference between good sleep habits and a lot of sleepless nights. There are no hard and fast rules for bedtime, and every child is different. What is important is to build a routine that works for your family and to stick with it. And that's what we are going to talk about in this episode. But before that, let me introduce myself to all the first-time listeners. I'm Alpana Dev. I'm your host. I'm a published author of A Girl in a New Town, a blogger at motherscircle.com, a freelance content creator, and a mother of 2 lovely kids who are my greatest source of inspiration for all my parenting posts, articles, and now podcasts. Welcome to Mother's Circle podcast. According to verywellfamily.com, a bedtime routine includes all the things that you do with your baby or older child just before and up to the time when you put him to bed, such as taking a bath, the last diaper change, putting on pajamas, saying prayers, and reading a bedtime story. Well, now you have done it all and you are ready to crash on the bed, but your child is still not ready to sleep. The only option you can see is co-sleeping. You fall asleep while putting your kiddo to sleep, but slowly it becomes a habit, and later it gets hard for you to break it. What can you do now? Let's see how can you deal with co-sleeping, and let's find ways to change the bedtime battle into bedtime bliss. Yes, that's what we are going to talk about. So before we begin, let's look into the definition of what exactly co-sleeping is. Co-sleeping, also called bed sharing, it's a practice in which kids share the bed with their parents. Co-sleeping is quite common than we think, but it is one of the controversial topics in parenting. When we enter the parenthood journey for the first time, we have been strictly told by our child's pediatrician that we should not be doing co-sleeping. It was because of the several dangers that are associated with co-sleeping. However, parents have mixed opinions about this topic. Those who co-sleep found it easy and convenient, both from the child and their perspective, as the already exhausted parents need not have to get up every now and then to calm down their baby, and also because the baby sleeps peacefully in the warmth of his or her parents. On the other hand, parents who follow no co-sleeping rule are ready to figure out a way of taking turns when the baby wakes up. Co-sleeping also refers to sharing the same room but letting the baby sleep in his or her own bed. We have followed this method with our daughter till she turned 4, and now we are doing it with our son as well. After our daughter turned 4, she started sleeping in her own room. And we are going to follow the same with our son as well. I feel occasionally when the baby is sick and needs our warmth, then there is no harm in giving a break to this no co-sleeping rule. That's why I feel whether to co-sleep or not is a personal choice of any parent. Whatever works for them should be their choice. So let's see the positives and negative sides associated with co-sleeping. Let's talk about the benefits first. Co-sleeping boosts baby's development. When the baby is in your room, it helps their sense development. They know when you are in the room. They get used to of sound, smell, movement, touches, and heat. It's a win-win for both the child and the parent. New mom or new parent is exhausted and they want undivided sleep, which is tough to get, especially during the initial months. During that time, if the baby is co-sleeping, then the mommy finds it convenient to catch up on some power naps with the baby. Compared to getting out of bed and going in the other room, feeding, and then again get back to sleep afterwards, it's tough if your baby is within an arm reach. New moms often find it easy to feed them as well. And when they're feeding them, when the baby is so close to them, it is actually a bonding time. When the baby is sleeping with the parent, they feel safe and cozy. The warmth of the skin makes the baby feel secure. Mommy can sing lullabies in her soft voice and the baby falls asleep quickly. But she should make sure that the baby is not too snuggled up. Bonding time can also happen when the baby's crib is close to your bed. Co-sleeping also helps in better sleeping patterns. Some parents complain about their baby being a light sleeper. They try co-sleeping and it works for them. Since the baby is close to the parent, they sleep much better. The placing of a crib in a same room, or say next to the bed, or even in the same bed, can reduce the baby's anxiety, which in turn will lead to a better quality of sleep and less disruptive sleep patterns. If they can hear you in the same room, they may well stir but go back to sleep on their own after a time. It also helps in faster postpartum recovery. Giving birth is a life-changing experience. When a new mom is trying to figure out many things while going through the postpartum phase, cranky baby at night becomes even more challenging. If you have gone through a tough delivery or a C-section, then getting up from bed every time your baby cries is difficult, as your body and pain won't allow you to do that. By having your baby near your bed will let you limit your activity and movements. It also controls prolonged crying. Since you are able to hear your baby and soothe him or her before the slight discomforts turns into a loud crying, you are able to control the prolonged crying. And it's not always dangerous. If you put your baby's crib in your room next to your bed, then that's not wrong. By placing the crib in your room, you are solving both the purpose of co-sleeping and also eliminating the danger of SIDS. This will help both of you to sleep better. Well, co-sleeping also has some downsides. Let's begin where we ended the positives, that it could be dangerous. Yes, earlier I said it is not always dangerous. That was when your baby is sleeping on a separate bed, but sharing your room. Now, if you're making your baby sleep next to you, then yes, it could be dangerous. While you are in deep sleep, you are not aware of your surroundings. Your hand could go close to your baby's face that might cause suffocation. Baby might feel overheated. I know it feels good to snuggle, but a baby can overheat easily. And overheat is one of the risks of SIDS. Newborn has to stay at an even temperature throughout the night. Our body heat can make them even hotter. And yes, the transition would be tough later. I have friends who had a tough time transitioning their kids to independent sleeping. Kids get used to co-sleeping very quickly. It becomes hard for the parents to transfer them to independent sleeping habit later. They become so used to sleeping with their parents that it is hard to convince them to sleep on their own. Kids feel insecure. Around 6 to 8 months, babies start understanding the presence of their family members. They start to understand something called object permanence, which means they know the existence of people around them even when they are not there. This includes mom and dad. When they co-sleep and if they do not find their mom or dad next to them, they burst in tears because they feel insecure. While there is an increasing shift toward the family bed, the ultimate decision should rest on you, the parent. This should clearly be your personal decision because each family's case is different. Whatever might work for one family may not necessarily suit another family. So make your own choices. Think from the long-term point of view and then decide what works for you, your child, and your whole family. So this was about co-sleeping. Now, once your child grows a little older that he or she can sleep on their own, one new challenge comes into picture. At some point of time, every kid is introduced to their own bedtime routine. We all want to train our kids to sleep on their own. For some kids, it's an easy act, but for others, it's a battle. They do not accept this change that easily, especially if they are in the habit of sleeping in your room and sharing your bed. So, first thing first, start letting them sleep in their own bed. I'm going to tell you 6 tips, or you can call them secrets, that have worked for us. The first one is very important whenever you are trying to set up any kind of routine. Stick to the routine. Stick to a fixed bedtime for every single day. Exceptions can be made on Fridays or Saturdays, but try to follow the same bedtime routine as much as you can. Every kid has a biological clock. Having a pizza and movie night is exciting for every kid over the weekends or on Fridays, but staying up late just because you are watching a movie is not a good idea. Eat at least 60 minutes before bedtime. This will help the child to sleep without feeling stuffed or full. According to me, 60 minutes is a good gap between dinner and bedtime. If it gets longer, then there are chances that by the time your child is ready to go to bed, they will again start feeling hungry. Then instead of bedtime, there will be a snack time. And yes, ambience matters. Who won't like soothing, calm ambience in their room during bedtime? If your child does not feel comfortable in sleeping in a dark room, then put a night lamp. With young kids, make sure that they are comfortably dressed. If they are too cold or too hot, they will not be able to sleep peacefully. Follow a good night routine. If you read a bedtime story with your child, then read it. Lie down by their side for a few minutes. Don't wait for them to be fully asleep. When you're lying by their side, tell them that you are leaving now once the book reading is done. Obviously, your child might ask you to stay for a little longer, but tell them that you will check after a while. Mostly they are asleep within 5-10 minutes after your departure. Afternoon naps, yes. For older kids, even 15 to 30 minutes of afternoon nap acts as a power nap. So, if your child is saying that he or she is not sleepy in the afternoon, then please don't force them to sleep. If they sleep, then forget it, that they will be in the bed on time. Security objects. Bedtime means separation, and that can be easier for kids with a personal object like a doll, a teddy bear, a blanket. It provides them a sense of security and control that confronts them and reassures your child before they fall asleep. I'm sure with these tips, you can change your kids' bedtime battle to bedtime bliss. Co-sleeping or setting up a bedtime routine for your child is an important step, but it should happen gradually like any other milestone or transition. For us, it's not a big deal, but for them, it is. So, prepare yourself. Prepare your child. Have lots and lots of patience. It's not that tough. So, good luck with setting up this new routine. In the next episode, we will concentrate on reading habits, storytelling, and other areas of language development. So, stay tuned. Till then, stay blessed, stay happy. Happy parenting. Hello everyone, welcome back. In the previous episode, we talked about co-sleeping. Today, we are going to discuss another important area of parenthood, and that is language development. Yes, language development is a critical part of your child's overall development. The second topic we will be talking about is mother tongue. Language development supports your child's ability to communicate and express and understand feelings. It also supports thinking and problem solving and developing and maintaining relationships. Learning to understand, use, and enjoy language is the critical first step in literacy and the basis for learning to read and write. All that we are going to talk about in this episode of our series Parenting One Step at a Time, how to help your child in vocabulary building and why it is important for us to teach them our mother tongue. Before we get into all this, let me introduce myself to all the first-time listeners. I'm Alpana Dev. I'm your host. I'm a blogger at mothersgurukul.com, a freelance content creator, and a mother of two lovely kids who are my greatest source of inspiration for all my parenting posts, articles, and now podcasts. Welcome to Mother's Gurukul Podcasts. First words, first step, first flip, first tooth. All this is always special. When our child gets the first tooth, we keep looking at it time to time as if it is soon going to disappear. When our baby flips for the first time, we keep taking pictures and videos. When our infant utters mama for the first time, this first word in his or her vocabulary is so special to us. And it's an unforgettable moment. Very soon, they start picking up words from their surroundings, learn to relate words, develop an understanding that words have a meaning, and they are used to express what we feel. From the first cooing sounds our infant makes in response to a tickle to the first words in their vocabulary list of toddlerhood, we get delighted at each step of our child's progress. The vocabulary building or language growth children accomplish during these first few years has a long time impact. And children cannot progress without the nurturing guidance and modeling of appropriate language used by the adults around them. So, how to help your child in vocabulary building? First thing first, and very important, talk. Yes, that's the first and the foremost requirement. We are the first language models for our children. Just keep talking until you get bored of your own voice. Well, jokes apart, if you will talk, then only the kids will know what represents what. And this will develop their vocabulary. The best way to encourage your child's speech and language development is to do a lot of talking together about things that interest your child. It is all about following your child's lead as he shows you what he's interested in by waving, pointing, babbling, or using words. Like talking, responding to your child is equally important. As your baby grows up and starts to use gestures, you can actually respond to what they're talking by rephrasing their sentences, their words. When your child starts using word, you can repeat and build on what your child says. For example, if she says, say, orange or apple, you can complete the sentence, or you can rephrase the sentence by saying that, do you want a red apple, or do you want an orange, or do you want a yellow banana? When you tune in and respond to your child, it encourages them to communicate. You will be amazed at how much they have to say even before their words develop. Build a meaningful conversation. Don't think that what my infant will understand. Infants learn most of the stuff from our expressions. Tell me, why do they smile all the time? It's because that's what they have seen us doing all the time. That's why they pass a cute smile the minute they see us, or their siblings, or any known face. And yes, speak slowly. Try not to talk very fast. Let them grasp what you have just said. Once the child step into toddler phase, try to find concrete examples of new words whenever possible to make a meaningful conversation, and then those words and the examples will make the whole picture more clear to them. Relate words to their real life experiences. Make them meaningful and make connections with new vocabulary. Talking about what is happening in your daily life together is a great way to increase the number of words your child hears. You can talk about things that make sense to her, like what is she seeing or what is she doing. Now the key here is to use lots of different words and in different contexts. Grocery shopping or morning or evening walks are a perfect time to build up a meaningful conversation while introducing them to new set of words. Say for example, you are on your grocery trip with your kiddo and you are just seeing the vegetables and picking the vegetables, and then there you can start a conversation. Hey, see, that's a green broccoli which is sitting right next to maybe red tomatoes, or this green chili looks it's thin, or maybe this yellow or orange mango, it's soft. So when you come back home and when they will see the same things in the grocery bag, somewhere they will recall what you have just said. Maybe they may not recall each and everything, but they will find a relation, and next time when you will go to the grocery shopping, they will point it out because it is already there in their mind. Sing rhymes, tell stories. They learn a lot from singing and listening to stories. Also read a lot. Read all sorts of books. Signs on the walls, directions, recipes. Don't leave any opportunity to read. A wide variety of reading material will expose kids to a wide variety of new words. Reading lets your child hear words in different contexts, which helps him learn the meaning and function of words. Linking what is in the book to what is happening in your child's life is a good way to get your child talking. You can also encourage talking by chatting about interesting pictures in the books you read with your child. Limit screen time and encourage family time. Turn off the TV and then talk. One of the best places is the dinner table. That's one of the few times entire family is together. Nowadays, parents turn on the TV if the child is getting fussy. I know that's an easy way out, but for the child at early stages of learning, it is not an appropriate option. Instead, try to distract him by saying something else. When they watch TV instead of communicating with us, then it's a one-way conversation. When we talk to them, there is a question and answer session going on. Get friendly with the nature. Mother Nature has so much to give, and kids love being out. Show them the natural beauty. Take them on walks. Talk to them as you take walk together. Explain them what they see, like trees, sky, flowers, cars, etc. Even if your child is not talking, but he is listening to your talks. Everything is recorded in their little but curious brain. Socializing. They say it takes a village to raise a child. Very true. Today, most of us live in a nuclear family setup. Kids our families are like our extended family. By saying extended family, I'm talking here when our family is not here, so our friends are like our second family. Try to meet them. Let the kids mingle with one another. If possible, take your child to story time sessions at library. Children listen, then use words, then read them, and finally write them. As a parent, we have the privilege of watching the stunning language growth that occurs from birth through a child's early years. Parents who talk to their children and who encourage interaction will lay a healthy platform for academic success. And children will quickly realize that words can be exciting and interesting. How do you know that if your child is achieving the language developmental milestones or not? So let's see. I got this information from raisingchild.net.au. It says in 3 to 12 months period, your baby will most likely coo and laugh, play with sounds, and begin to communicate with gestures like waving. Babbling is an important developmental stage during the first year. Babbling is often followed by the jargon phrase where your child might sound like he is talking or having a conversation. At this stage, though this speech doesn't mean anything, first words often start by around 12 months. Next is 12 to 18 months. At this stage, children often say their first word with meaning. For example, when your child says dada, he is calling for his dad. In the next few months, your baby will keep adding more words to his vocabulary. Next stage is 18 months to 2 years. In the second year, your toddler's vocabulary has grown and the toddler will start to put 2 words together into short sentences. He'll start much of what you say to them, and you can understand what they say to you. Most of the time. 2 to 3 year old kids, your child can speak in longer and more complex sentences now and is getting better at saying words correctly. Next is 3 to 5 years. Your child would probably also want to talk about a wide range of topics and her vocabulary will keep growing. She might show that she understands the basic rules of grammar and she experiments with more complex sentences that have words. Well, be ready to have some long stories. 5 to 8 years. During the early school years, your child will learn more words and starts to understand how the sounds within a language work together. He'll also become a better storyteller and he learns to put words together in different ways. By 8 years, he'll be able to handle an adult-like conversation. When we talk about vocabulary building, language development in kids, teaching kids their mother tongue also comes into picture. Many immigrant parents see this as a challenge to make their kids comfortable with the mother tongue. Sometimes the kids can understand, but they can't speak. To me, it is one of a very important aspect that I feel that each and every child should know their mother tongue if they have any. Our mother tongue is a gift we are privileged to receive by the virtue of our birth. Those who are from India listening to this podcast would know the places or the states I'm going to tell in this part of our episode. So originally I'm from Maharashtra and I'm born and raised in Kanpur. I myself have experienced the advantages of knowing my mother tongue. Thanks to my grandparents and parents who laid a very strong foundation for us and also given us as many opportunities as they could in finding and exploring different ways to stay connected to our culture and mother tongue. Telling from my own experience what a wonderful feeling it is to know an additional language, which today has become one of the most challenging tasks for parents, especially who are living outside India. Living abroad, but at the same time staying connected to our roots and passing on our culture, which has language as an integral part, to our next generation is becoming more and more demanding. Sentences like, "Our kid doesn't talk in our mother tongue. We tried and tried, but no success. It's so hard." These are the commonly said sentences by many immigrant parents who are living outside their home country, India in my case. But is it that difficult as it sounds? Well, I don't think. What it demands is a little bit of patience, time, and discipline. Kids are smart enough to sense the dilemma of parents, so they test us. I feel that if kids can learn any other foreign language, then why not their own language? Today, technology has made everything on our fingertips. Lots of mobile apps are out there to make the learning more interesting. Language learning softwares like Rosetta Stones, Live Mocha, language schools are some of the mediums which can be a good start for the learning process. Needless to say that grandparents is the best school. It is surprising that how much a kid can learn from their grandparents in general, routine, day-to-day conversation. If kids are encouraged for talking to their grandparents in their mother tongue, then it's like a win-win situation. Not only this creates a special bond between the two, but this is also a great way to learn the language. Also, during India trips, it gives a lot of comfort and confidence to them when they know that they would be able to hold a conversation there. Whenever we go to India, our kids enjoy the India trip to its fullest. Why? Because language isn't a barrier for them, but it acts as a connector. They are comfortable in expressing their feelings, both in Marathi, which is my mother tongue, and the national language, which is Hindi. And it helps them in enjoying their India trip. And it gives us a comfort feeling that they are happy there and they are not feeling isolated. Well, feeling of isolation is another area of concern for parents living abroad when they go to their home country. And kids, on the other hand, they aren't that excited because of an anxiety that they will be bored. Sometimes they get a different treatment in terms of conversation. It is a general perception that kids are more comfortable with English, and when they visit their relatives back home, this practice gets continued. Just to make them feel at ease, relatives and friends talk to them in English. But this can go either way. When they see other kids talking in different language which they are not able to understand, they get that complex, which can be a negative impact on their self-esteem. Looking from the positive side, it may motivate them to learn the language. So, it is actually challenging. I heard Sudha Murthy, who is an Indian social worker and the author and chairperson of Infosys Foundation, saying in one of her interviews that knowing mother tongue is as important as knowing English. With globalization, being comfortable with English has become today's demand. We all have different dimensions that build our personality. Mother tongue is one of the dimensions of a person's self-being. The most important part is don't give up. As they say, parenting is an ongoing process, and preserving our heritage, cultural awareness, and native language is more important than what we realize. Keep the momentum going, and sticking to our decision is the key. I would love to know your thoughts about this topic, and especially on this mother tongue topic that we have just discussed. And I would love to know how you are trying to help your kids in developing that interest or the comfort level to your mother tongue. Please send me your replies, your thoughts, your ideas through the comment section. In the next episode, we will talk about one of the major factors that contributes to a great extent in vocabulary and language development, and that is reading. We will talk about how to choose age-appropriate books, how you can make reading a pleasant feeling for you and your child, and much more. All that is coming on your way in next episode. Till then, stay happy, stay blessed. Happy parenting.